Today on Tricrow Studios, we take a Jackson JS22-7, the satin finish one, and we do some upgrades. So this is part one of the video. Basically what I wanted to do was actually break it down. Makes it a lot easier for me and for you, because generally there's a lot of questions when it comes to installing, say, a Hipshot bridge, or why you would choose Spurzels, or how to do certain things. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to make it like a two-part video. There will be technically a part 3 because I'm still deciding on what pickups to install here. But for now, this is part 1, which is just installing the Hipshot bridge. So let's go ahead and take a look at the current bridge, and then we'll take it apart and install the Hipshot. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do here is remove the stock bridge. I will let you know I'm filming this out of order so you can kind of see this knob here. I've already done that part. Anyway, my Hipshot is in the mail. Except it is a long weekend, so I won't have it for a couple of days, but I'd like to get all the prep work out of the way. So, you just remove all of these saddles. Saddles out of the way. And we'll take these off. Doesn't matter if we lose the springs. Voila, here we go. So the important thing to note here, when you're getting a new bridge, you want to make sure that this portion here, like the base plate itself, has a thickness of 0.175 as opposed to the 0.125 option, because that way you'll have to, I think it's that you have to get bigger screws to actually, basically you'd have to have your saddles sitting up higher than they can. With the included screws. I believe that's the whole reasoning there. But for those of you out there who are worried, as I bang the headstock, if you're worried about doing this, this is super, super easy. But I want you to see, you can see like right here, the hole that's drilled in the guitar, and here as well. They're not lined up perfectly with this bridge. It's not a big deal. So when you remove these screws and you drill in new holes to get the new bridge in, it doesn't really matter. Just line these up with the existing holes and then just kind of square it off to the pickup and then just drill your holes and put them in. Super easy. Anyway, let's go ahead and remove these 4 screws and we'll look at the grounding situation. The other JS22-7 that I did had the grounding for the bridge. There was like a little notch in the body, and it just sat in that notch in the body. So I didn't have to worry about like it falling down a hole or anything like that, which was almost a worry on the Ibanez 7-string that I put a Hipshot bridge in. There you go. Kind of messy. It's not a big deal. So you can see right here, they actually put a notch in the wood, and they kind of bent the grounding. So when you put your bridge down, it automatically grounds to the bridge. Very easy. But yeah, this is a super easy procedure. You literally just put the new bridge on, line the holes up, square it off with the pickup, just so the strings will pass through, and then you drill your holes and you're good. Alright, so here we have the Hipshot bridge. Again, you want to do the 1.75, or sorry, the 0.175 version rather than the 0.125 version. So basically what we want to do here, it's very, very easy. The only thing you have to worry about is the grounding. So if one of these screw holes here lines up with the grounding, then we might have a little bit of problem. But all you do, if I can get this right, you just move it around until you hover over the holes. And then you make sure that all of the holes are lined up for the strings. And then we'll note that right here, it is kind of where the grounding is. It's close to it, but it's not exactly on it. So you've got the holes lined up, and then you kind of square it off to the pickup here, just by a little bit. And then you have two options, or a couple of options. You can mark your holes. Lucky this is a satin body, so you can leave little marks there. You have to take all of these off. Okay, so you can take everything apart. You need to anyway. And honestly, what I do, because it's very easy to line things up, I just line it up. Make sure that my grounding is out of the way. This is actually drilled at an angle, so it's not going to come into play. But I'll line things up. Make sure that it's kind of squared off to the pickups. And then I will get my drill. This is super, super easy. You just make sure that the drill bit that you're using, it's way, way, way out of focus, is smaller than the screw. But I will make sure everything is lined up. That's going to be an issue. Everything's still lined up. And I'll drill my pilot holes. So you can see that that was super, super, super easy. The grounding legitimately just has to touch the bridge. There's no big worries there. Just lay the grounding down, so it's gonna touch the body and touch the bridge. And with the pilot holes, you just screw the bridge in. Do everything by hand. And another good hint is your good tip is to don't finish one screw and then go into the other one. Kind of get them started. That way you don't lock the bridge down on a spot that it doesn't have to be. And if you have to move the bridge a tiny bit to line everything up, it's easier to do with things loose. So as I'm getting closer to the end, I'm kind of going side by side with the screws. And you're just tightening them hand tight. There we go. Like, you don't want to start reefing on it or anything. But I've got 2 screws in and all of my holes line up here for the strings. So I'll do the last 2. And then put the saddles back on. String it up and intonate. That's it. That's super, super fast, super, super easy. When you get to part 2, it actually takes longer to, part 2 of the upgrade video here, it takes longer to switch over the handedness of the spurzels. And that's about a minute to a minute and a half per spurzel, and you only have to change over 4. So The bridge itself is very quick, very easy, and it is feel-wise and playability-wise probably the best upgrade that you can do on this guitar. Okay, now I just gotta put the saddles back on. Alright, so you can see I have all of the saddles back on. And I'm ready to actually string it up. This is a super easy modification to do or upgrade to do on your guitar. And I know a lot of people, they get scared because you're drilling into the body of the guitar. What you're drilling into, like the drill, the holes that you're actually putting are like right here, and they're covered by the bridge. So if you make a little bit of a mistake or there's a little bit of finish cracking, it's not a big deal because you won't ever see it. And again, this makes such a difference on your guitars. Bam. So thanks for watching part 1 of the video. Stay tuned for part 2 where I install the Spurzle tuners, the end pins, so the strap buttons, and 2 new knobs.